Good evening, YouTube. Yeah, I'm relaxing. My back's hurting. I just finished supper and I was chilling, watching some TV and watching some YouTube. And my friend Danny from Deep South Homestead has had a little problem with his gardening, and it was December 31st, and his potatoes got bit back. Now, I don't know where he lives, but I do have an idea. Somewhere in Alabama, I think. Uh, Lower Alabama. And he would have to be real, real low in Alabama to be further south than what I am. I think I'm a zone 8. Pretty close to, I'm right on the line of being a zone 8 or a zone 9. I can get some of the plants from zone 9 I can grow, some I can't. But I know how to take care of frost. He planted his potatoes, like he said, November. Now, we never plant potatoes before February the 15th. And I learned not to plant potatoes before February 28th. I just wait till after February is over with and we're fixing to begin to March. Now, that takes away 2 weeks of germination time, but I don't have to worry about frost and all that stuff. Usually for me personally on my place, trying to grow potatoes, it gets too wet, and I learned I don't even like to plant potatoes because it's just a big disappointment for work that you get involved in. So I just buy my potatoes. I find good deals and I buy my potatoes. But I do love gardening, and if you look at some of my pictures, I've had some of the cream of the cropest gardens, and I've been growing garden since I was a little bitty boy. My grandfather was retired, and he was a old farmer, and my mom and dad gardened, my whole life. I've been involved in gardening, and I listened to those old people about what to do. And my best friend, Man West, is a gardening fanatic. He grows more food than he could ever eat every year, and he gives most of it away. But there's a few things that you do to prevent frost from getting your plants. I do still have that problem sometimes in late March, sometimes early April. And I've seen it snow here one time on Easter Sunday, and I'm talking about 4 inches of snow, and it was a freak deal, and it was Easter at the end of April. So, number one, you got a bunch of stuff out, go cover it up. Sheets, plastic, clear plastic, go put it out over the top of them. Stake it down to where the frost can't get on it. Buckets, cover them with buckets. Sometimes you can't do that, though. And sometimes you get caught off guard. You get caught, kind of like Pat would say, you get caught with your pants down. And it happens. So when something like that does happen, and you were unable to cover them or anything else, you should get out with your water hose immediately before the sun comes up, and take your water hose and spray all your plants. Whether they need watering or not, go out and spray all your plants. And what that does is it washes the frost off of them, and it will keep from giving your plants frostbite. And frostbite on little plants will do all kinds of havoc. It'll kill them. It could bite them back, and they'll still live, but they won't produce as good. It can, yeah, it can set you back weeks or months, or even just destroy your garden to the point to where you don't feel like gardening anymore. It can. So remember that. Just get your water hose with a light mister or something like that. Something that won't hurt the plants, but something that'll melt that ice, and get out there before daylight or as close to after daylight as you possibly see. Get out there. Get out there. And if you got a big enough garden, it's worth calling in sick to work for. I guarantee you. Because, like I told my boss one time, he was making me work all this overtime, and I had this big garden at home. And I'd come home from work, and I'd work in my garden, and you know, and they started running my route that I had. I was a traveling mechanic for Sears, and they would keep me out till 9 or 10 o'clock at night sometime. And I told him, I said, look, dude, I can't do this no more. I got this big ass garden at home that I got to take care of. And he's like, well, we pay you. I said, the money is not adequate enough to keep me from growing a garden. I said, the price of food versus what I save by gardening is it's not adequate. And he's like, well, that's unacceptable. I said, look, because they would wait until about November and lay me off. I'd be laid off from November. I'd be laid off the month of November, December, January, February, and then the 1st of March they'd pick me up. That's 4 months out of the year that I wouldn't work. And so I had to survive and buy groceries enough to save enough so I could eat during the winter whenever I was laid off. Because the government, our government, would fight the unemployment every time. So sometimes I'd get unemployment, and then some months I'd get unemployment, then they'd cancel my unemployment, I had to reapply, and I'd get it, and it was just always messed up. And I just told him, I said, look, there's 4 months out of the year where I don't work, and I don't have an adequate check to go pay for groceries. I said, the garden out there makes sure that I have groceries. The paycheck is inadequate versus my garden. So, yeah, if you need to call in sick to make sure that your garden survives, do so. Do so, because and just be sick. I hate to say that, but just be sick. Just thinking about it, that sucks, don't it? Companies we work for, they don't care. They don't care about you. All they care about is their profits. Well, guys, I'm gonna get off of it. I'm gonna quit beating the dead horse. We're coming up on gardening season, and I got to go get my tiller from my son and bring it home, and hopefully it'll run. I'm gonna make sure it's all running and stuff. That's kind of what I'm gonna have to do between now and the end of February. I got to get my garden broke up, and me being broke up will keep me from having much of a garden. But what little bit of garden that I have, it's going to take me longer. It's going to take me 4 or 5 times longer to get it prepared, get it in. And luckily, over the years, I've bought the stuff that I need to make my garden easier. And I know how to plant it to make it easier on me. And I got neighbors and stuff that like to eat, so I can barter with them for some work if I need to. Now, granted, I won't weed it like I used to. I used to get out in the evening time when I get off from work, and I'd hoe and I would rake and I would, I mean, my garden was immaculate, and I can't do that no more, and that's fine because the weeds. If I can keep it to where I can just run my tiller down the rows, in between the rows, then when after it rains, that'll keep the weeds out of it. And if once the rainy part of the spring goes away, and it just rains like a week here, a day or two here during the month and stuff like that, then I will I'll be good. But also, I won't plant anything that requires a lot of effort or water. Uh, I'm going to plant like I'm gonna plant a couple rows of peas, a couple rows of green beans, some wax beans, um, and then I'll get up here. I've got some containers up here in the yard, in right off my back porch, and I'll grow some peppers out there, and I'll grow some tomatoes. Uh, Now I may get one of um, my raised beds cleaned out and get it to where I can plant some tomatoes in it, because I do enjoy canned tomatoes, a lot of canned tomatoes, because uh, chili, uh, uh, spaghetti sauce, ketchup, it requires tomatoes and lots of it. So soups, I love beef vegetable soup. I love that stuff, and so I'm gonna try to get some in the ground. And unfortunately, they do require some care. But if I just plant one or two uh, raised beds, then I can keep the weeds out of them, and just go down there and pick the tomatoes off of the trellis and go with it. Uh, Guys, I have gone on too long. Uh, Y'all reach out and go subscribe to Danny's page and check him out. He's an older gentleman. He's real smart. He's got a lot of stuff. He makes a lot of content. I just started watching him again, but he does have a lot of stuff out there. Greenhouse gardens, cows, chickens, you name it. If it's homesteading, he does it. All right, guys. Peace.